How has evolution shaped our lives? How did one scientist change the whole world? Charles Darwin is a figure who revolutionized the world of science as one of the most important names of the theory of evolution. Darwin was born in 1809 in England as the child of a wealthy family. His father was a famous doctor, and Darwin showed an early interest in medicine. However, his experience in medical school was so negative that it led him to pursue scientific research instead. During his university years, Darwin studied theology at Cambridge University, but his interest in natural sciences was stronger. This became one of the important turning points in his life. Darwin married his cousin Emma Wedgwood. Emma was one of Darwin's greatest supporters in his life. She also helped him understand his conflicts regarding religious beliefs. However, Darwin carried deep doubts about God's influence on nature until the end of his life. One of the most important events in Darwin's life was his journey on HMS Beagle between 1831 and 1836. This expedition laid the foundation for the development of his theory of evolution. His observations in various regions, especially in the Galapagos Islands, helped shape his ideas about the evolution of species. From then on, Darwin traveled to 4 continents for 5 years, collecting samples from the species he encountered while also examining the local geology. After leaving South America in 1835, the ship reached the Galapagos Islands, 960 miles off the coast of Ecuador. Darwin's observations in the Galapagos Islands became one of the cornerstones of his theory of evolution. There, his research on finch birds with different physical characteristics on different islands strengthened his ideas about how species gradually diverge over time. By 1838, his ideas about evolution began to develop. Darwin did not progress quickly when he began his scientific studies. He spent many years making observations, conducting numerous experiments and research, and eventually developed the theory of evolution. He proceeded with his scientific work with meticulousness and careful observations. He saw how transmutation occurred in the terminology of the time. Animals better suited to their environment lived longer and were able to reproduce more. Then evolution should have occurred spontaneously through natural selection. Darwin spent much of his life battling health issues. After the HMS Beagle voyage, he suffered from chronic stomach problems and struggled with them for many years. These health issues led him to focus solely on his scientific work. By June 1858, Darwin had written many articles about evolution, but had not published any of them. Alfred Russel Wallace, an admirer of Darwin and inspired by his voyage on the Beagle, decided to embark on a similar journey at that time. As a result of his observations, he independently put forward the theory of natural selection and sent a letter to Darwin to get advice on how to publish it. Darwin realized that if he did not publish what he wrote, Wallace would go down in history as the person who developed the theory of natural selection. But Wallace was on a ship and could not be contacted. In addition to whether to express his opinions, he also had to decide what to do to be fair to Wallace. About a year after explaining his theory, in November 1859, Darwin published his theory in a book. Darwin spent the last years of his life largely writing and compiling his thoughts. He passed away in 1882, but the scientific legacy he left behind laid a strong foundation for all advancements in evolutionary biology and genetics.